So today I'm going to go down memory lane a little bit and talk about some terrible heroes that are finally good in the current patch and have been good at least for a few patches or will be good by the next patch. Now these are some heroes that just haven't seen way too much playtime, but recently they've been showing up quite a bit more and they've actually been able to do a decent amount. Now while they aren't the best heroes in the game, they certainly are a lot better than they were in the past. With all that said, guys, let's get started. So if we go back with Widowmaker, she's kind of just been all over the place. I mean, when she was originally released, she was just ridiculously overpowered. You could just do so much with her. Yeah, you know, she was great. But for a long while since then, we really hadn't seen way too much Widowmaker. I mean, there was tank meta, there was Beyblade meta, there was dive meta, there was spam meta. And in all of those metas, Widowmaker never could really find a super good place to fit herself. I mean, she could do okay sometimes, but I think for most players, they didn't really know how to figure this character out. And with the extremely high skill cap needed to play her, it kind of felt like, why should I play her? And I think most players kind of gave up with her and stopped playing her after a certain point, other than those players that really wanted to learn Widowmaker. However, I think it's kind of turned around a decent amount for Widowmaker, and I think that she's finally in a position where she can do pretty good. Now, maybe not the best. I don't think that she's in a overpowered level at all right now. Some people might be calling that because, I mean, it is kind of hard to deal with her. But for the majority of players in competitive, I don't think she's quite there. But she is finally good. You can finally actually pick her up and do something with your team. And I don't even think it's way too much because of the meta changes. I mean, the metas have changed. They have somewhat benefited her. And right now, it is, you know, a pretty good time to play her as far as that goes. But I think the main big thing that changed everything for Widowmaker was the Overwatch League. And people kind of learning what to do with her and how to play her and where to be and why to play her. And I think it opened up a lot of people's eyes about Widowmaker. Now, maybe it opened up a little bit too many eyes because there are a lot of people right now picking up Widowmaker that don't really know what they're doing. They're just kind of picking her up, hoping for the best, hoping they can get picks, trying to play her when they don't have way too much time or way too much experience as her, which can kind of suck in a lot of cases. But along with those people, I think there was a lot of players that have kind of gotten on the grind with her, that have kind of decided to learn her and go in with her, and have kind of seen the potential power that Widowmaker has. And I think with all of that, she's kind of become a character that you could call good, and that when you see on your team, you don't immediately think that, it's a Widowmaker player, she's probably going to do nothing, she's probably just going to immediately throw this game. I think she can actually now, in a lot of games, supply something to your team. And especially when you see like a Smurf playing Widowmaker, I mean, that's always been great, but even more right now, yeah, I'd say a lot of people are going to call her good. Now, one thing about her is that she still does have a lot of counterplay. There still are comps that can just completely beat her out. Dive comp can still just jump on her, and there's not much she can do in a lot of situations. But I think in the general just randomness and competitive, and just the random chaos that happens, more people know what to do now with Widowmaker. And I think that's finally making a lot of Widowmaker players that used to just kind of be terrible on your team finally do some good for you. Now, to Mei, I think it's kind of hard because personally, I've always believed that Mei is a half-decent character, and that if you pick her in her very situational spot, she can do well. If you need to stall, she can do that. If you need to get picks on a certain map against a Reinhardt comp or something like that, she can do that as well. The problem is, she's been kind of stuck in a box. And while there are a lot of Mei players that are just insanely high elo somehow, I think the majority of players could kind of agree that she just kind of felt out of hand. They didn't really know what to do with her, and she just kind of felt terrible. And I know there's a lot of people that have just had bad Mei players on their team, and mainly not very much Mei players at all. But in the recent PTR patch, we've seen a huge change for Mei, and I don't think that it's going to make her overpowered. I don't think that's going to make her played every single game, but I do think that with the addition of freezing multiple targets at once now, she's going to become a much more viable pick that can fit in a lot more situations. Beforehand, Mei essentially would just be a single pick machine. You try to wall someone off, freeze them, and end their life. But now Mei can act more as a crowd control machine, as a machine that can, while still, kill one person, effectively be a lot more useful on multiple people. Her ultimate's going to be a lot more useful now because she can freeze people a lot faster with the addition of freezing multiple people and it going through multiple enemies. And overall, I think just expanding her kit in that one simple way finally makes her into a pretty good character that can work in at least the current meta that we're in. Now, if it does go back to like a spam meta, I mean, she might have some troubles. And if you are playing against someone like Orisa, let's say, it can be kind of hard. If there's shields all over the place, like Orisa Reinhardt, sometimes you can't exactly do what you want to. But I think right now is just about the best time to pick up Mei. She really hasn't had a huge time to be in the spotlight, I guess, other than Season 2 and all of the time that the game's been out. But I think this honestly is one of those situations where if you're a person that wants to play a CC-based bruiser type of character, well, Mei's there for you now. And if you're a person that has always wanted to play Mei, I think she's a lot less of a troll pick now and a lot more of a character that you might actually legitimately want to pick. And one thing I should mention right here is that Mei is kind of weird in that she doesn't do the most damage in the game right now, so some people are picking her up as the second support slot in very situational situations, obviously, or as the second tank slot in a few more situations, because she is somewhat tanky. She can't stay alive, but mainly she can supply a lot of crowd control that the rest of the DPS can go off of, and maybe that will be where she shows up more in competitive in the future, or at least in esports in the future. I guess we're gonna kind of have to wait for that, so we'll see. But honestly, yeah, I think Mei is a lot better now and is finally good. And finally here, I'm gonna talk about Doomfist. And Doomfist has been just like the worst character in the game for a long time. And still, I'm gonna say he's maybe not the best. Still, it's hard to argue to pick him, but he's a lot less terrible now, and I think there's a lot of situations where Doomfist actually is a playable character finally. Doomfist has gone through a lot of pain. I mean, he came out of the PTR, or I guess in the PTR, looking extremely strong. His punch hitbox looked giant, he could kill everything, he was doing a lot. Then in the PTR, obviously, he got some big nerfs, became a lot worse, could go a lot less distance with his punch, and overall, you know, people stopped playing him. He just kind of became a terrible pick that no one played for like an entire season. But recently he's been getting change after change after change, fixing a lot of his bugs, making so that he can shoot faster, making so that the hitbox and his punch is a little bit bigger again. And overall, he's in a much better state than he was at release, which is kind of weird, but that's kind of how it's going. As well with Doomfist though, more people are learning how to play him, and I think this is the main thing. Doomfist is a extremely difficult character to kind of get your head around, because he's a flanker and a bruiser and kind of a team fighter and kind of an initiator and kind of a disruptor all at the same time, but also not all at the same time. You kind of have to know where you have to be and when you have to be there, and people have taken a long while figuring that out. And while still maybe not everyone's figured it out, I think the majority of players have, and he's finally gone from a completely terrible pick that you should never pick no matter what, to one that I'm seeing a half-decent amount of time. Maybe again, not every single game, and maybe you shouldn't pick him up every single game, but I think there are a lot more situations to finally go for the Doomfist and to use his ability to get some kills. I think especially in the Overwatch League, I've been having my eyes opened up a little bit to what he can do, because again, while he isn't picked every single game, and not even close to every single game, he can get the unique picks that you need to finish out a match. And he's one of those characters that you kind of do need an exact character on the enemy team to counteract him, be it a Reaper or a McCree, or maybe an extremely good Tracer. And sometimes if you're playing a competitive especially, the enemy team just can't get that. And now that the Doomfist players are just kind of good enough, I mean, they can do a lot, and I've just been seeing a lot of Doomfist players finally winning games, finally ranking up. And if you look at top 500, there's actually a decent amount of Doomfist players, around 4 to 5, which is a lot more than they had in the beginning. So overall, I'm going to say Doomfist has become a pretty good character considering how terrible he was for so long. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say about these characters and all I'm going to say about this list. Another character that I guess I could have mentioned is Sombra, because, I mean, she's a lot better. But I've talked about Sombra a lot in the past. I'd say she would pretty much be on this list, though. Because she was pretty bad in the past and is now currently one of the better characters in the entire game. So there you go with that. Wanted to make sure to mention her as well. Anyways, as always, guys, though, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like or comment down below what characters you personally believe are the best after all this time, or what characters you think I missed, as I'll try to, I guess, give you a like and share that information. And as always, guys, though, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, press the subscribe button to see more videos like this in the future. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.